Welcome to my podcast, Today's Dream, Tomorrow's Reality. My name is Vickie Pull. I'm a master transformational coach and hypnotist specializing in habit change. And this podcast is sponsored by the Enlightened Peach. And it's all about embracing our mosaic life. Now, some of you may ask, what is a mosaic life anyway? Well, it's recognizing that all the pieces of our life, the good, the bad, the indifferent, have all come together to make us who we are. You change any one thing, and then we are different people. With that in mind, I invite you to embrace your perceived imperfections and celebrate who you are. And this podcast is unedited and raw, just like life. And I'm your host, and I have a special guest that I'm going to share with you in just a moment. But before that, I would love for you to leave a comment and remember to like, subscribe, and share. So now let's get started. So I just have to share with you guys that Jessie and I actually tried to record this podcast one time before, and I was having all kinds of issues, and everything just kind of went away. And so I had to message her and everything and say, okay, I'm sorry, I'm not there. And so I think I disappeared and you stayed on screen. Am I remembering right? Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So it was crazy. And then this morning I was having some power outages at my home, and I thought, oh my gosh, but we are here. And I'm super excited to introduce Jessie to you. And so, Jessie, just go ahead and give a little synopsis of who you are and what you do, and then we'll get into the conversation.
Yeah, super excited to be here again, also, by the way. But I'm Jessie Halversen. I run all things Mom Elevated, and I love supporting other mompreneurs in their journey to increasing impact and income without breaking the bonds that they have with their babies. So it's all about the juggle between mom life and business ownership and how we can integrate the two, but also create space for you and for, either yourself, your loved ones, or whatever else is important in your life without the overwhelm and the extreme, like, shutdown process that happens, I guess, as a mom.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I love that. And I don't even remember what we talked about last time, so we're just starting from a whole new a new ball game, right? But the first thing that comes to mind as you're saying all that is when my children were born. Mine are 9 years apart, so it was very different, right? So when the first one was born, actually, I split up from my husband at the time when I was 8 months pregnant. And so I was all alone in this end of the pregnancy. Well, all alone. I had family, but I didn't have the spouse, right?
Right.
And then I had an emergency C-section. And then once I recuperated from that, it's like, now I got to figure out how to support this, right? Support
Yep.
me, support him. And I'm telling you, it was a major struggle. And to figure out how to still be a parent, and then you have to do all this other stuff. And so it was a lot. There was a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. Now, nine years later, I had my second child, and my pregnancy was really good. My husband and I stayed together. So I felt like I had such a support system going through the pregnancy. And then when she was born, there was my husband, and then was my son, super excited. And it was a very different thing. Yet still, I had some of that anxiety and everything because I worked a full-time job, and
Yeah.
I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom was kind of what I wanted. I decided that that's what I was going to do. Well, I loved my husband, but the thing is, I realized real quick that if we wanted to eat and survive, I had to go back to work. And then it was trying to figure out all of that stuff again. So I fell back into that place of I'm being a bad mom. I'm not doing this right. I'm not doing that right. Right. So two very different experiences, but I still ended up in kind of the same stressed place.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming from what you're saying that that's what you help women to do is to get in. they get in that place, and every woman I've ever met that has children, they fall into that same place because it's a very daunting place to be. Nobody comes with a manual. It's like, what the hell do I do? Why did I choose to do this? There's a whole lot of things that go through our minds. So I'm assuming from what you said that you help women to get out of that place and into a place of just enjoying the family.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoying all parts of really all of it because it can all be really intense at different times, right? Business
Right.
ownership or a mom. And so I actually have a similar story with my firstborn. He's out of wedlock, I suppose. I didn't divorce because I wasn't even married yet with him, but I guess really after I got pregnant, the dad just up and left and was out of the
Mm.
picture. My son actually has a half brother that's 6 months younger than him, and he married that girl, even though I was like, hey, just so you know, like I just had a baby with him as well. Just fair warning, we actually still chat, and we're hoping to get the boys together at some point
Oh,
in
that's
time.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, right. So it wasn't her fault. We all
Right.
got and so yeah, it was an interesting situation. And so when I met my husband, I thought it was really funny because I had been a single mom. I lived with my parents for a year before I got on my feet and was able to really get things rolling for myself and my son. And then when I met my now husband, um, I don't know, I was like, you do know that I have a kid because everybody of his friends that I met said he doesn't want to get married, he doesn't want kids. I was like, he's dating a single mom. What? I feel like somewhere in his subconscious he wants it and he doesn't know
Yeah.
because it's a package deal. But no, here we are, 11 years later and two
Wow.
kids. I know.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And he adopted my son, so our son.
Yeah,
Think
my
kind
second
of when we
husband
got
adopted my son as well.
yeah, right. So
Yeah,
it was like
yeah.
4 months after we got married that he adopted him, and so that's been wonderful. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, so through all of those things, I've been a work-at-home mom, a stay-at-home mom, a single mom. I've been through all the struggles, and I know what it's like to go through each of those stages. And then while also building a business, my husband actually worked out of state for four
Mm.
years of our relationship, and so dealing with that while also growing the business, dealing with clients and even starting to hire my own help and being like, how is this gonna work? I can do this. I can do this all. And now this is our second year homeschooling,
Mm.
and getting that journey underway. So I feel like taking all of that experience and being able to bring it into a way that helps other moms really embrace whatever the challenges are, whatever the hurdles are, whatever the chaos is that's going on,
Yeah.
and being able to kind of form their own sense of calm is what I like to do.
Beautiful. And one of the things that's coming up for me, is I'm thinking that it's beautiful because a lot of women think that they're the only one that feel that way,
Yep.
you know, that everybody else is just pop in with wonderful thing that always smiles, the children are well behaved, and everybody loves each other, and everything's amazing. And they are there with feeling all these anxious things. And I remember times, especially with my son, he was a very difficult child, which probably comes from the difficult I went through and the actual delivery. It was a lot of stuff. But there were times that it was like I would just sit outside the bedroom door and cry. I
Yep.
don't have anybody to bounce this off of. I don't know what to do. Where the hell am I going to go? What do I mean, and I thought I didn't want to tell anybody that I felt that way because they would think I was a failure or they would think I was a bad person or all of those things, right? So I think it's amazing that you help with all this because the last thing anybody needs to ever think as they're dealing with this is that they're the only one that feels that way.
Right. Or that they'll never get through it. Like this is the moment
Yes.
it's too much. I can't handle it. And there's so much that you go through. And when you come out the other side, you're like, wow, okay, that was really hard. But this part is amazing now because we
Yeah.
did. But, and I think we're also taught to compartmentalize so much of our life that
Hmm.
as a mompreneur, you can't, it's all integrated, it's all in your face, it's all there all the time. You can't shut one piece off. It's just
Right.
always there. You have to learn to manage it and how to set those boundaries and where those boundaries lie, when to move those boundaries a little bit. I think that's why my mentorship program and the Gift Yourself Grace program within that membership is my favorite part of what I do.
Hmm.
Literally, if I could pick one thing, I would do that all the time, just because it's a quarterly reflection point over. I love words and I love acronyms. So GRACE is an acronym for goals, relationships, actions, connections, and expectations. Because whether
Beautiful.
it's home life or your business life,
Yeah.
all of those factor in. And yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Well, I have a question, and you may not know the answer to this because, so I'm just going to say it. And if you don't, just say, I don't know. So when some woman is going through all this and they're feeling so down and desperate, how do they know when they're suffering from something serious like postpartum depression or something that's more doable of the stress and anxiety of just going through things?
I think, especially for me, what I was able to recognize is as a busy and really just ambitious person, I was always used to succeeding in everything I did. When I started not being able to like succeed at everything I tried at because it was just so much all the time, I realized it wasn't just like, oh, I'm feeling down, I'm feeling, kind of moody. It's okay, I need to get control of something. And a lot of it also is I like to be in control. So if it's out of my control, right, it was really, really difficult for me to process it. And so being able to find tools that would help with letting some things go and going with the flow, and then also being able to figure out what is in my control and what is out of my control,
Hmm.
was really, really helpful. But I have an interview series as well, and talking to so many moms who either had like postpartum psychosis or postpartum depression.
What's the difference?
Psychosis is you have little moments of like like psychotic breaks where you're like thinking harmful or even just kind of a little bit crazy. Like it is a little crazy. It's more extreme than
Okay.
depression, where you're just feeling down and like all of the things are dark and dreary and you're
Okay.
never going to survive. You're drowning instead of the
Hmm.
psychosis is a little bit more of like a break.
Got
Um,
it.
from what I understand in the conversations I've had. I am not a doctor, so maybe ask if you're concerned. But yeah, that's the biggest thing is like realizing that there's a difference in whether it's long lasting or if it's just little moments.
Yeah.
Because if you're still feeling it 3, 4 months later and you're not finding some sort of moment where you're like, okay, I got this. Because all of us have moments where we're like, okay, this is a great day. But then there's going to be days when you're like, oh, this is just a lot.
Yeah.
There's a difference between that and just,
Calgon, take me away. The old
yeah.
commercial. You're probably too young to
Right.
remember that, but hey.
No, no, exactly. So yeah, I'd say that's probably a key indicator. If there are moments where you're like, okay, I can handle this, I can get on top of it, and then you're just feeling like it's too much, as opposed to long lasting all day long. You can't get out of bed, you can't get yourself up to go shower. It's not a my baby's keeping me from doing this. It's a I just can't do this. There's
Got it.
there's a difference there.
Yeah. So do you work with those people too? I'm assuming.
I'm happy
Yes.
to. I have, yes.
Yeah.
But most of those that I have worked with have already sought medical help, so they've already got some of that under control before I can then come in and say, okay, now let's get your life on track and your business back on track.
Yeah. Well, I was asking because, I'm a hypnotist.
Yeah,
And one of the things that I have to do when it comes to certain things, if people say certain words, I have to say, you've got to seek professional help,
yeah,
and then I can help with them. And I always have to ask if they're under doctor's care for anything, to see if it's something that I have to corroborate with their medical professional, because otherwise I'm stepping outside of the boundaries of what I'm licensed to do.
yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's what I
yeah.
need.
Yeah. So, I mean, I luckily I've never had anybody that I had to say, I can't work with you. I have had a few people that we didn't want to work together because we just didn't connect, and it's like, I think you'll be better off. Here's a referral. Um, but those are questions that I always ask everybody to make sure that I'm not overstepping into something that I'm not qualified to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like it's a little different on my end because most people reach out for business help first, and
Yeah.
that's what we always think is going to be the most helpful. But then oftentimes it's usually life. Once you can get some of those pieces underway, then the business part is just natural and
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
easier, a little simpler actually, because while it's complicated and it ebbs and flows, it's not as, I don't know, it doesn't feel as hard, I think, as life sometimes for people
yeah,
to.
yeah. Well, I have people that come to me to lose weight and then find out that the weight's not the issue. It's something in life and how they feel about themselves. So it's always interesting to me because, and I'm sure I'm not the first person to ever say this, so I don't ever pretend that I came up with this. But we are like onions where you have something that's going on, you want to lose weight, you peel that weight loss off of it, and it's like, oh my gosh. So you can't look in the mirror and say, I love you. Okay, peel this one off. Oh my gosh, you don't have a good relationship with your family? Peel another layer. And so I think a lot of times, and this may happen with you too, because you start on business, but you have a lot of undercurrents, right? Sometimes people think that you help them with that first thing and then they're gold. It's all good,
Yep.
you know, but they don't realize that the reason they're having that issue is because of these underneath things that if you don't do something about those, you're going to be okay right now, and then next month or the next month after that, or whatever it is, you're going to be right back in the same place. I think that's one of the things that people are usually, not everyone, but usually looking for the quick fix, and they want you to fix them like this. But I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the whole thing is to get people to see that they're not broken.
Yep.
They've just got some misdirected things that, as a coach, we can help them see. I like to say it's like we're a drone and we're above the landscape and we can see, yeah, don't go over there because there's a bridge out. Go over this way. It'll be easier. And we help them navigate around some of the trials and tribulations that they don't even realize are there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think sometimes it's not only harder to see it in yourself because I don't know, being self-aware is really hard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And staying on top of that, but also things change so frequently, but it's also I think when you're looking at other people, it's easier to see
Mm-hmm.
than when you're like, oh, I need to be introspective. That might be because of something I'm doing. No, no way. We're gonna justify it away and we're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
make sure it's somebody
Who's
else's
to
fault.
blame?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I think that piece is just really, really tough. And I think it's something you constantly work on because
Oh yeah.
even this year, I've been doing it more and more again because I'm like, you reach a new level and you're like, okay, what's coming up now?
Yeah,
What?
yeah. One of my friends, she says, new level, new devil. And I
Yeah.
say, I
Oh, yeah.
hate that, but I guess it's really true because, if you knew everything you needed, you would already be where you wanted to be.
Yeah.
And if you're not, whether that's in business or just in life in general, then that means you've got some growth and learning to do to be able to be the person who can
Yeah.
step into that role. And so, like, I like to reference, people that win the lottery. They suddenly have money, and that's all great. If they had money before, they'll be able to handle it sometimes. Sometimes they still can't because it puts
Right.
them way past their comfort zone. But if you've never been a person that can rub two nickels together and make ends meet, then you get several $1 million, you're not going to be able to handle that either.
Yeah.
And so that's why most of them within 2 years have lost every dime and are in worse shape than they were before financially. And sometimes and relationships and everything. Everything goes to hell. And it's not that money's evil or anything, like some people like to say. It's just that you got to grow into the person that can handle it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think that's also why I love integrating motherhood into it because you have to grow as you raise these humans if you
Yeah.
want. Like you have to heal yourself. And that was something I think my oldest has taught me quite a bit. My middle is very emotional and I'm not naturally. And
Hmm.
so
So
like
you
that's
got three, right?
I do have three.
So the
Yep.
middle one, that's me. I'm a
Yep.
middle.
Okay.
And some of that comes from that birth order. Have you ever read the book, The Birth, about the birth order?
I have not, but I've gotten little hints
Yeah,
of
get
that.
that book. That's I think it's called The Birth Order Connection.
Awesome.
And it is fabulous because
Funny.
when you read it, you see yourself. So where are you? Are you a
Um,
firstborn?
so I'm the last, I'm the youngest, however, also somewhat only-ish. My sister's 5 years older, and when
Hmm.
she was a teenager, she was shipped off to her dad in Alaska because she was pretty terrible.
Okay.
So she was going through a lot. We're really close now, but yeah, growing up it was she was in a different state.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we did go to
And
her
it
grad.
also matters how many years ahead the person
Okay.
is. So if I think it's if they're more than 5 years, then it's almost like you're starting over. So you
Yeah.
would have been the firstborn because there was so many years difference in them.
Okay.
I mean, and it makes a difference if the firstborn is male or if it's the second one. So it's really cool.
So
And when I read this book, it's like I could see so much of why I did some of the things that I did because um, I am actually second born with two younger siblings. But my younger siblings came, first one of them came 9 years after me.
Wow.
Yeah. So I kind of was the second born, the middle child, and the oldest because when they came along, my older sister had already moved out.
Okay.
And so I have tendencies on all of this stuff. So it's fascinating. You need to
That
read
is
that book.
fascinating. Mine are 4 years apart, but
Uh-huh.
yeah. So
So
my
they
middle
just missed that cutoff to be the.
one, and I really feel like I've had to teach my middle one how to kind of protect her energy, which I knew nothing about because
So
she's
the
very
other two boys?
empathetic. No, I have a boy and two girls.
Okay.
And so the boy is the oldest, and he is
Okay.
for sure, yeah, he's just like me, very strong-willed.
Yeah.
Sometimes we butt heads,
Yeah.
sometimes it's great. We've learned a lot over the years,
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I thought was really funny in the book was, and I may be misquoting this, but this is what I remember. It's been a while, so if you read the book, don't chastise me for missing it right. So if there's a house that there's three people that we're talking about, there's a firstborn, a secondborn, and a thirdborn.
Yeah,
When the firstborn has a drawer full of batteries so that they never run out, right? Now, the
correct.
secondborn goes and gets the batteries when they think it's about to run out. The
Hmm.
third one could care less because they'll find something, they'll take it out of something else, they'll move it around or whatever. And if they absolutely have to, they'll go buy new batteries.
Yep.
So they each, all three, share the same experience with the battery, but they all come at it from different places. So to me, that was so eye-opening to see how the different people would look at just the battery issue in itself. Isn't
Yeah.
that fascinating?
That is really interesting and spot on. Thinking
Yeah.
of my kids.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So I know I'm getting way off
No,
topic
that's
here,
okay. That's fun.
but I always like to talk about all kinds of things. Um, so when you did you start this business when you had your first one, your second one, your third one? When did it all come to this is, gosh, this is important. I've got to do this.
So actually, so I started online as a virtual assistant, and
Okay.
I was about 8 months, 8.5 months pregnant with our middle. And so she was also breech, and I was able to have her naturally breech. And
Wow.
she,
That's
I know,
impressive.
it was the only doctor in the state that would do it. He had just delivered his fifth breech as well.
Wow.
And he had five criteria that she had to fit in order to be able to deliver her naturally. So yeah, it was an interesting process. I also
Nice.
did a version with her that I don't suggest that ever. That was painful. And it was unsuccessful. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but yep, I had her 2 weeks after I started online. And that was interesting because then I was taking calls from clients even while I was in the hospital. Like it was because it was just starting. I was like, well, I
Yeah.
gotta show up.
So what did you do before
So
you were a virtual assistant then?
I was an administrative assistant at an
Okay.
OBGYN office. Funnily.
Okay.
I know, right? And before that, I have a background in lots of daycares and babysitting, and I was a nanny in California. I have a
Okay.
degree in accounting and a degree in music. So,
Wow. So you can balance the music, right?
yes, yeah, I music is my heart. That's why I don't like the term balance. I think it's BS, but I like
Yeah.
the term harmony, uh,
Mm-hmm.
because you can have multiple facets at the same time, and you can find that ease and flow, and I love that
Mm-hmm.
term
Yeah.
so much. But yeah, so I started then, and about 5 years later, and so many more journeys along the way, I was watching Call the Midwife, and I was like, okay, look at this group of people who come together, whether they get along or not. They know that they're better as a community if they support each other and they help each other out. It doesn't matter if they have like a conflict of interest or if they just have a conflict of personalities, doesn't matter. They're stronger if they help each other, and it's beautiful. And I wanted to bring that to an online space, and so that's where the Mom Elevated Society started.
All
And
right.
I was like, yeah, we need that as mompreneurs, and in an online setting where it can be really daunting and isolating and overwhelming. Yeah, we can all come together and help each other.
Beautiful. So I have a quick thought. Um, so you went from being a VA to doing this, right?
Yep.
So how did you know how to effectively talk about this so that people would come?
Practice and hiring my own coaches.
Okay, all right. Now
Yeah,
we're getting
yeah.
somewhere.
Yes. Yep. I hired a coach pretty soon after. So I started, and I'd say probably about 2, 3 years later is when I was like, I need help to grow this because I know it can be so much more than what it is. And I've got so many ideas. Visionaries, yay.
I know.
But so once I started hiring coaches and working with coaches and learning and doing my own personal development, which was huge along the way,
Mm-hmm.
was really and learning from I think I learned a lot from the people I worked with as a VA, like the businesses I worked in and supported in. I was like, okay, I see how they do this, and this is
Mm-hmm.
amazing. And then I could see kind of the operations side of things and how it all
Nice.
integrated that way as well. And so I guess I did it a little bit backwards though, because most people start with one-on-ones and I started with a group program, but I just
I think it's just an individual thing because I know people that have done it that way too.
oh good.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You're
Yep.
not alone. You're not alone.
Good, good, good. Yeah, that's kind of how it sparked and how I knew that I could deliver it in a way, but also practice. Being on podcasts, being in places and writing my messages. I love content. I'm a content specialist as a VA. So,
Oh,
working
okay.
on that kind of stuff was natural to me anyway. So being able to practice it and really hone in what that message was and how to deliver that in a way that allowed people to ask questions that then helped me refine what we talked about and how, it helped.
Ah, I love it. I love it. So what is your goal right now for your business?
I would love to fill the membership and then fill my one-on-ones so that in like 3 to 5 years, I can start doing retreats, which I think would be amazing, incorporating both business and, your mom life. So bringing your kids into it and letting your kids really participate in the business side of things. My son works with me, and so I think it's a lot of fun to teach them that side of what we do so that they have a better understanding and can do it themselves if they want to later on in
Yeah,
life
yeah. Because
and still have that.
I love the people that are like big speakers, right? They speak on big stages and it never fails. They have a young child that gets up and speaks and blows everybody away, right? So that is, I'm just always floored by that. I love it. So unfortunately, well, I say there are no accidents. So I did not have this kind of business when my children were young. Um, it was not even in my radar to do anything like that, right? It came from some other things as after my husband passed away and different things that this just kind of came to fruition from there. And so I'm thinking, I didn't have an opportunity to bring my kids in when they were young like that. And they're not really interested as adults. They're adults, right? It's like, you want me to do what? I don't think so.
I have no
So,
life.
yeah, yeah. So, so my kids don't work with me. And not to say they never will, but you never know. It could change at the drop of a hat. You know how kids are. Even adult kids, they're always kids. And so when your son is helping you, what kind of duties does he have?
Oh
I'm
yeah.
just curious.
He does all of my emails now. Like he's got a whole system. I helped him out for about a year, I will say, maybe a year and a half even, before I finally started saying, you know what you're doing. Stop asking me until you get stuck on something. Because he's a teenager too, so he would just ask me
How old
until
is he?
he's 14. He'll be
Okay.
15 in September. But he's been working with me since he was almost 13, not quite
Hmm.
13. So, um, yeah, so it's been a long process of just getting him to establish, like, you know what you're doing. Please trust yourself. And then if you get stuck or I notice something like if he does my emails, my LinkedIn newsletters, my blogs, and some social media, not most of the detailed posts, but he'll do like I have question posts that go out for my groups certain times a week. He'll do those.
Okay.
Because it's something that's monotonous, the same, and he can get
Hmm.
on a good routine with it.
Right.
And so he does all the images for all of
So he's
that.
kind of your VA.
Yeah, he's my VA. I love it. It's so much fun. He also did some standard operating procedures for me because I wanted to teach him how to do that. And so just it's really fun to see how his mind works with it. And not gonna lie, there were some times where we've had tears because he gets really frustrated if I'm not understanding what he's saying or if he's asking me so many questions and I'm like, just trust yourself. And he wants an answer.
Hmm.
But working through that and being able to do that, now we're on a great, I don't, he came out yesterday and was like, hey, I already got everything. Do you want to just check this over and make sure I can schedule it? I was like, yes, yes, I do. That sounds so nice.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So you
yeah,
homeschool him as well, right?
yep, we do homeschool him as well.
Nice.
Yes,
Nice.
it's
Um,
it's fun-ish.
yeah, so I'm in awe. I am. So with your teaching, you're primarily helping these busy moms to have a business, right?
Yes.
So do they usually come to you? They already have a business idea, they already have a business going, they just need you to coach them to get it to be better.
Yeah, so it depends.
Okay.
Yes. I've even worked with some that are in network marketing because I also have a background in that. So like I
What did you
understand
sell?
the ins and outs. I'm in Melaleuca,
Okay. All
so
right.
I love their products. But so I know that some of them can be really picky in how you have to share the message or operate. So I think it's fun to dive into that and help them get on a good schedule as well because a lot of it is content oriented or just systems and getting kind of that stuff situated so that it's already organized enough to
Mm-hmm.
just be a little bit easier on your mind when you're
Right.
through it.
Yeah.
But I also worked with someone who was a photographer, like super successful photographer, but wanted to shift gears and create a course and go digital with some of what she did. And so that felt really foreign to her and really different. So being able to do that while she was handling her child who was special needs, and what that entailed as far as her attention, her time, and how to really go about that. So that was a lot of fun too. So it can be somebody shifting gears into a new area,
Mm-hmm.
or it's someone just trying to expand where they're already at and knowing that it's going to be a lot of undertaking and trying to dissect it and make it a realistic timeline.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, as
I'm
ambitious
usually
and
the
we're
one
like
that says,
tomorrow.
I'll have 1 million people in a
Yeah,
year, you know.
yeah.
It's like it's crazy, but it's like I will so overestimate what I can do.
Yeah, right. That's why the expectation piece is so important
Yeah, yeah,
because we're so used to succeeding at what we do that we set the bar so high
yeah.
and we get so disappointed that we're like, never mind, we're just not going to do it at all. And it's like, no, 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 no. It's a great idea. You're doing great.
Yeah.
We gotta make smaller, achievable goals.
Right. So, do you work with people who are starting a business and they're not a mom?
I actually I have. As long as they are like intending to one day be a mom. I have worked with women
Okay.
or even women who are older and their kids are out of the house.
Okay.
It's really about I love anything that has to do with time and getting on a good system and organization and just really integrating your life and business in a way that supports what you want it to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And
All right.
setting the boundaries up. I learned a lot of boundaries the hard way.
Yeah, yeah. I think boundaries is a hard thing for most people,
Yeah.
especially women, because we are raised to be the nurturers and you do for others before you do for yourself and
Yeah.
all of that stereotypical stuff that makes it really difficult to say, I'm sorry, I know you need me right now, but right now is not a good time.
Yeah. And it doesn't burn down if you say that.
Yeah,
Like I said, I was taking calls when I was like in the hospital with my second. For my third, oh no, I was like, I'll talk to you in a couple days when I get home, and if anything breaks down, contact this person. Like
yeah,
they'll get hold of me if it's an emergency, but otherwise, I'll see you on the flip side. Like
yeah.
I'm gonna have a baby.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I didn't realize how bad my boundaries were on this stuff until I worked with this woman, her name's Laura Westman, and we were doing a program together. And so we were getting on Zooms, and doing stuff and trying to iron things out and get it all together and everything. But one day I reached out to her. It was the weekend, and I said, there's this thing, and we need to kind of work on it. She said, oh, well, let's schedule something for Monday because I don't do this on the weekends. What? How is that possible? And then she had this cutoff in the evening where she didn't do anything after this time. And I thought, this is a foreign concept to me. And maybe
Right.
part of it is because I've always had a job that I went to and did this, right? So
Yeah.
it's like if you have you can't do this at night, there's no other time, right? So, but where um, I would be in a place of if I wasn't constantly doing something, I thought something was going to fall apart, or I thought I was not being a good person. I was not being a good business person. And I will say that, not to say anything bad about anybody, but some of that comes from that masculine energy because there's a lot of the men that say if you aren't working on it 24/7 in the beginning, that you're not going to be a success.
Yeah.
And so I bought into a lot of that. And what I've discovered now is that when I give myself an opportunity to just breathe, go for a walk, and right now, one of my boundaries I'm working on is I say working because I haven't got it down pat yet,
Right.
is taking at least one weekend a month that I don't do anything on any business.
Love that.
Yeah. And then 2 evenings a week, I say nothing happens other than just reconnect with who I am and if I feel the need to do something from intuition, that's totally different.
Yeah.
So those are a couple of things that I'm working to get into my solid boundaries. And so I'll keep you posted on how that goes.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
excited to hear how that goes. I
yeah, yeah.
actually just last weekend on Sunday, not this weekend, it was full of picking and pitting cherries from our cherry tree, but last weekend on Sunday, we had such a busy, it's just been a busy summer, but so I finally was like, I'm not doing laundry. I'm not cooking. I told my husband, I was like, I'm sorry, but I'm not doing anything today. If you would like to join me, we should just watch movies today and hang out and just be in our company and not be busy. And he's like, all right. So it
I
was
love him
so,
already.
I know, right? He's so laid back. He's the best. He deals with my crazy well. But it's really, it can feel really almost wrong when you first start to do it because you
Hmm.
are so used to being like, I should do this instead.
Hmm.
But once you start to eliminate that and just be, it's so nice because everything's gonna still get done. We still got everything done.
Yeah,
My house is still picked up. It's still got three kids living in it, so it's,
yeah,
still lived in,
yeah.
but it's
With three
still,
kids, there's probably a delegate thing that you have to work on too.
yeah, we all have our chores, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
nice too. Or contributions, I guess. I don't like to call them chores because then they all huff and puff
I
about it.
know.
But when you're like, can you just help because we all live here? It's a little bit better. I've actually noticed my youngest helps with a lot of things without being asked because it's just
Nice.
helping, just help each other. So yeah, it's a fun thing to kind of dive into with other mompreneurs too, to be like, what are you putting on yourself that doesn't necessarily need to be there? What can we remove? And
Hmm.
diving into that a lot because it is mostly stuff we put on ourselves. Like
Yeah.
I realized throughout the past 11 years that there were times that I would be upset at my husband for nothing he's ever said or done, but something that I'm like, I bet he's thinking this. I bet that he's thinking
I
this.
know.
And no, he didn't. I'm sure
Yeah,
he
yeah.
not at all. And so it's also opened up a lot of conversations with him because I can say, you know what? I thought that you expected me to do this, and so that I put that pressure on myself, but I'm realizing like it's me putting that pressure on myself by thinking you're thinking this, but I have no idea because I didn't ask you.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
so
We have
it's
a dialogue in our head that has no place in reality
yeah.
whatsoever.
Yep.
We rehearse conversations thinking things are going to go the worst. So that's one of the things I work with my clients sometimes is looking at what our conversations are in our head and
Yep.
trying to change them because it actually changes how things pan out. And it's really interesting how that works.
That's so neat. I love that you
Yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So we're getting close to time. So this has been amazing. And I don't think we've talked about a doggone thing that we talked about before, but I do, like I said, I don't remember and it didn't get recorded, so we're good.
This
But what
has
would
been
be
delightful.
what would be one piece of advice that you would give a mom that or a future mom or someone that has older children that would let them know if they need to reach out to you to help them?
I would say look at your calendar, write down everything. The first thing I do is I work from like a needs versus a wants list.
Okay.
So write down everything you do in a day, no matter what it is, like planning, changing diapers, planning meals, if you need to get something out, if you need to pay a bill, if you need to call somebody to make an appointment, write down everything. It's going to be a long list, I know, but write down everything you need to do that day and then write down everything you want to do. Because if you're having a really great day, you're going to be able to check off some of those things that you want to do, and then you'll be able to create that space in your schedule. If that is something that after, I would say, 3 to 4, I guess 3 days to a week, if you're starting to see that that's helping you mindset wise and just productivity wise, be in a better headspace or be able to accomplish a little bit more realistically because you'll be able to see what you're doing on a daily basis. That's when you need to reach out to me because I can help you refine those things and really get them on a good schedule so that you can start getting ahead even more, and really creating that space the way that you want it to be. So, yeah, that's my
Beautiful. I love that. That's a great way to judge whether it's something that they need help with. Yeah.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Then you can start to see what's important, what's not, where your priorities lie.
Yeah.
If it's a busier family season or if it's a busier business season and how you can really fall into those shifts.
Yeah. And I can say for me, a lot of times I do a lot of busy work
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
doesn't really move the needle anywhere, but I feel like I'm doing good. And so I've been really, really trying to, or not trying, I've really been focusing on being able to tell the difference.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I still use that method myself. I've actually been doing it this last couple of weeks, realizing, okay, I am not having enough conversations because I'm doing a lot more busy work and it's not helpful. So where can I move that, shift it around so I'm still, because it's usually stuff that I want to do, but not necessarily something I need to do, and I'm putting off a need and doing a want instead. So
Yeah.
being able to shift those around and really see them, it sometimes hurts your heart, but it's really important to see.
Yeah, yeah. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. And I will be putting how to connect with you in the show notes. But if you want, you can, if you've got a link or something that is easy to say and you want to let them know how to reach you, you can go ahead and do that.
Wonderful. Momelevated.com and Mom Elevated everywhere. LinkedIn, Facebook, there's a group or just a page, and Instagram is usually where I live.
All
Um,
right.
Facebook is my happy place, but I'm all those other places.
All right. Well, beautiful. So thank you. And everybody that's watching, listening, definitely check out Jessie because she's got some powerful work there that I cannot think of any woman that doesn't need that. So definitely reach out and remind her that you saw her on the podcast.
Yeah,
And
please do.
and like, subscribe, and share. And you can put something in the comments. If you've got a question for her and you haven't been able to reach out, you can leave a question and she will answer it for you. All
Yeah.
right, guys. So it's been great. And I want to say one last thing that life is delicious and we want to taste every bite. So have a good day. Mwah.